Let's talk to Jonathan Davis, Wealth Manager from Hertfordshire and a member of our business panel. Jonathan, very good afternoon to you.
Hi, Rob.
Good luck to them, of course. Well done. It's a huge amount of money to suddenly come into. But is it wise to be so public?
Well, I wouldn't be if it happened to me. They've put a list together of who they want to give money to. There's going to be an even bigger list of people who suddenly are going to become their best friends.
That always seems to be the problem, doesn't it? And the track record of lotto winners is not often that good. Well,
it can be, let's not pretend that money necessarily brings unhappiness. We know the problems that it can bring. It can bring a great deal of happiness. What I'm disturbed about is the interviewers egging them on about spending, giving. Actually, what they should do, well, apart from obviously give me £10 million, what they should do is absolutely nothing, apart from maybe go on 3 months holiday. Get away from the world, get away from family, interviewers, just be themselves together for 3 months and just consider what is it they want to do for the rest of their lives. If, however, they go on a big spending and partying and charitable donation spree right now, they're very unlikely to be in penury 5 years or 10 years from now. But will they be as happy, will they be as comfortable with themselves as if, in fact, they get used to it first rather than just writing out those checks?
It's an interesting point because, the initial reaction is a party, a holiday, a house, a car, or cars, of course. But these people need to start thinking. I wonder how much sensible advice they're really given. Because although 115 million quid is an awful lot of money, you can also spend an awful lot of money just as easily.
It is a fantastic sum of money, and let's say for simplicity, I don't know, let's say they give away £15 million, bring it round to round numbers, it's still an astonishing £100 million. That in itself would bring them something like £3 or £4 million a year income after all taxes. So, it would give them, of course, an astonishing lifestyle. There's no question. The problem is that they're going to have begging letters now that it's public. They're going to have begging letters probably for the rest of their lives. They're going to be hounded by national charities who love to do this kind of thing. That's the less warm side of those organisations.
Jonathan, sorry to interrupt. Do you know my first thought when I heard a couple from Northern Ireland? I thought, I hope they stay secret and I hope they get out of Northern Ireland as quickly as possible with the money.
Well, indeed. What they will do, the National Lottery, the Lotto company, although I'm not sure if this is the one, but the National Lottery will put people in touch with a suite of advisors, hopefully not just financial, but although I know certainly there are hotshot financial advisors who people are put in front of. But, they're just selling products as well. They're just selling a service of looking after money. As I say, what these people need is psychological support, and the best people on earth to give them the psychological support is themselves. The problem is, it doesn't seem as if they're going to have that opportunity, and the decisions they make now are going to affect them psychologically and emotionally for the rest of their lives. They sound about 30, 35, something like that. They've got a long time ahead of themselves, and goodness knows what they could get involved in if they're not if they don't play it safely and intelligently.
What most people don't realise is the dark side of having a lot of money, because there are people, great number of people who've got much more than that. They've earned it. However they come into the money, they've got money, and you probably know them. You're probably clients of yours. They have considerable wealth attributed to their name, but there's also a big risk with things like security, because it's not just the begging letters and the charities. If you've got kids, your kids will forever be at risk of something happening to them because everyone knows you're the lotto winner.
Well, you've hit one of the nails on the head there in relation to the privacy issue. Yes, self-made multimillionaires. We don't know many of them. We know some who deliberately want to be in the public eye, and that's probably how they make their money. But there are many who are extremely wealthy who we have no idea who they are, who their kids are, and so on. But we know Mr. and Mrs. Connolly now, and if they have children, you're absolutely correct. It's not just the sort of the ransom issues or the bribery issue or whatever, the opposite of bribery, but it's just the dark side of humanity. Everyone's going to be tapping them up from now on. Whether it's the media for their time, and of course, if they ever do anything which is a little bit salacious, it's going to be all over the Northern Ireland media.
All over the world's media.
Potentially could be hounded for the next 20 or 30 years. How's that going to affect their lives? These people were just, shall we say, normal workers. All of a sudden, they're in the national spotlight. They didn't ask for it. And if the lottery company, because you can say, do you want media attention? I would immediately have said, no, not at all, not in the slightest. Keep them away from me. I'm very private. I don't want anyone to know. I'd love to know why they let it out the bag. I'd just love to know.
I think sometimes perhaps they're pushed into it. It's great publicity for the lotto people,
yep.
But for them, not so much. Jonathan, yep. Always a pleasure to talk. You know what my plan is, don't you? I mean, it's never going to be me, by the way, but if it was one day me, I would just disappear. I wouldn't even tell my wife.
Well,
not for a few weeks anyway. I'd give you a call from South America. Jonathan, come out. We've got an issue. I'll send a plane for you, and then eventually, after 3 or 4 weeks, I'd say to my wife, "Look, come over. There's some things we need to discuss." But I'd have a few good weeks first.
Yeah. Well, one would hope that one would have one spouse or partner with them right from the beginning, because there's a lot mutually to consider. But, I wish this young couple and all other big lottery winners the absolute best. It can be the making of people. It can give them peace and contentment and happiness and, as we say, self-actualization. Just Google it. Self-actualization for the rest of their lives. Or, indeed, it can make their lives much more emotionally and psychologically troublesome, much more than the normal difficulties of life that we all go through in the real world.
Jonathan, pleasure as always. Jonathan Davis, Wealth Manager from Hertfordshire.